tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Dawson the Daily Trudge. I don't know why I always do that in a German accent. I promise you, I am not a Nazi. I have brown hair. But I promise you, I am not a Nazi. Yeah. Got the window open. Get some air in here, man. Been a long winter with with the same stale air. See how many cats we got out there right now. Probably kind of hard to see. Just one. Yeah. Cats love that door because they're actually outside. And there's a grate up top. That's actually if there's a fire, that's our emergency exit. There's a ladder and stuff there. Then there's a grate, and I have a pretty light chair on there. Not enough for the wind to move it, but pretty easy for somebody like you or me. Cats certainly can't move it. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. I don't know what it is, but people are just irritating the fuck out of me today. I am refraining from a lot of things. Thank you, God, for giving me that patience to do that. But when I go to meetings and hear people say that sponsoring others is not something that they do, that it's not something they feel in their heart. No. Sorry. It's one of those things where we highly suggest it. Sure, we do. But if you want the benefits of the program, you got to give it away. If you don't give it, but Dion, I could just go out and share my experience, strength, and hope. No, you're not sacrificing your time like the person before you did. The amount of humility that you have is not going to be there. You will not find the necessary tools that you need in life if you don't pay it forward. It's my experience. Your experience might be different. And they're probably not necessarily wrong. That is their experience, and it is fact. But, half measures availed us nothing. Faith without works is dead. We talk quite often. I bet they feel pretty guilty every time sponsorship. Then you're not going to be able to share your experience on sponsorship because you haven't sponsored. Can't share. You can share some of your experience of being sponsored, being a sponsee, sure. But if somebody's taking time took hours and hours and hours and hours of their free time to help you out, and you're not willing to pay that forward, maybe you're in the wrong program then. Go try Celebrate Recovery. That's probably a little bit more for you. Yeah. I don't know, Amber. I didn't know if you were going to show up or not. It was funny because I was just finishing up my cigarette when you sent me that. I'm like, geez, I'm 2 minutes late. Get off my butt. Yeah. All right. I've talked enough about how people are irritating the heck out of me today. I'll get over it. I will get over it. Today we're going to talk about, or with this one, we're going to talk about what recovery is like with other mental illnesses. I'm going to make a blanket statement here. May not be totally fair, but I haven't met an alcoholic yet that doesn't have some other mental illness. I haven't met one. Whether they've gone to go get it diagnosed or they're diagnosed or not, I can still see it. Two of the biggest ones, depression. Okay. Another big one. Generalized anxiety disorder. It's another big one. But the biggest one is PTSD. It is. Now, it may not be CPTSD. Well, if PTSD is for those that have fought wars, CPTSD is for those that have gone through trauma. Maybe somebody died in front of you. Maybe somebody got shot in front of you. Or maybe it was consistent abuse in the home that you were growing up in that affected you. Right? I say it often, and this certainly isn't on my parents, or it's so that you know that you're not the only one. Okay. I grew up with three brothers. Well, two for the most part. Richard didn't live with us for very long, but he was part of our lives. So I grew up with three brothers and a sister, right? But I did not grow up in the same household as they did. I was treated different. I just was different, and I can't remember a time when I didn't have depression. I've always been depressed. I remember it from a very early age. But it wasn't depression yet. I was depressed. And there's a big difference between sadness and depression. I'm not going to cover those, though. Not today. So, not only that, but I mean, we put ourselves in these dangerous situations, especially women. If a man's involved, it might be a dangerous situation, which is another blanket statement, not quite fair to everybody, but it is what it is. Right? Put ourselves in. We sought out sordid places looking for approval and companionship. Momentarily, we did. Now we got two cats in the window. How much is that doggy in the window? That's one that we used to. That was one that we used to sing, and I got to do the barking. So I got to listen to this one song by Jack Johnson called Upside Down. It was the theme song for the Curious George movie, and I always got to make the monkey sounds too. What the fuck was that, Dion? I wasn't even close to a monkey. Suddenly, I have forgotten what a monkey sounds like. There we go. I just need to prove I could do it. All right. I'm diagnosed with all three of these things. And I'm going to have to actually get diagnosed for ADHD too, even though part of my denial is the fact that it doesn't quite exist. It's just unregulated emotions, not slowing down, things like that. But what I don't like is when I try and, hello, thanks for calling Mental Health Institute. Yeah, I need diagnosis for ADHD. Okay, we'd be happy to write you a prescription. Click. It's happened 4 times. That's why I quit trying to get a diagnosis. Because I was tired of them peddling their meds on me. I'm not going to take Adderall. It's not going to happen. I'm already going too fast. Right? But I can tell you that when it comes to mental illnesses, there's a way that it's done. And I know all of this because of my own experience. I'm also pretty well educated in the area. I didn't go to school, but that doesn't mean I'm not capable of reading. It's not like I can't sit down with the DSM-5. I know enough that those words make sense to me. Right? For a long time, most mental illnesses were put in the same category as alcoholism. Right? So mental institutions, the town drunk, And these were lumped together for years and years and years, for a very long time. In fact, right before AA started and we found a different way, the number one way to treat alcoholism was a frontal lobotomy and hydroshock therapy. Probably seen it on TV. Now they use it as forms of torture. Huh. They're out there chasing bugs and stuff. All right. Are we glad those days are kind of over? Isn't that nice? Now the problem is we're starting to lump these different addictions together, and they're separate things. They really are. Because when it comes right down to it, I know we got fentanyl, I know we got opiates, but I can tell you right now, alcohol is still the number one killer. 500 people a day die from alcoholism. Yeah. It's the number one killer, man. But yet it continues to be socially acceptable. Because not everybody's like me. They can drink the poison, kind of get away with it. They don't act like I do. You know. But it's still the number one killer out there. AA is still the largest organization in the world. It needs to be, clearly. Okay. Those numbers may never go down. I don't know. All right. So the problem with other mental illnesses and alcoholism is you cannot be diagnosed if you are an alcoholic or a drug addict. This one does include drug addiction. You cannot be diagnosed with anything until you are 6 months sober. Some of the other ones are a little different, like bipolar. That's different. You can be diagnosed. The ones that I'm talking about, though. Take a look at it. Narcissism. Are you a true narcissist? No, but you certainly had narcissistic tendencies. Let's take a look at that one. And I get kind of mad. People are like, you got to battle a narcissist and how to defend yourself against a narcissist. It's an actual mental illness that they cannot fucking help. They can't help it. Okay? It could be lumped in with Tourette's. They can't help it either. Fuck. Hey, little twitches and what are they doing? It's kind of stemming. Is what it is. Definition of narcissism.
Narcissism, in a psychological context,
Oh,
is a personality.
Great. Another new AI voice that they think is very comforting. Narcissism is a psychological context, a personality style characterized by excessive preoccupation with oneself and one's own needs, often at the expense of others, including a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. Does that sound familiar? Because they just described me, but I'm not a narcissist, am I? Well, I might be, and you just don't know. I might be the slyest narcissist you ever met. I'm not. Right? Things that make you go, Now, there tends to be a process in all of this. What other mental illnesses look like alcoholism?
According to pmc.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, alcohol abuse can cause signs and symptoms of depression, anxiety, psychosis, and antisocial behavior, both during intoxication and during withdrawal. At times, these symptoms and signs cluster, last for weeks, and mimic frank psychiatric disorders, i.e., are alcohol-induced syndromes.
What mental disorders are AUD? Anxiety, depressive, stress-related, sleep disorder, right? So what happens is the 12 steps clear the playing field for us. Yeah. See, we got to find out what the underlying issues are. Alcoholism is a mental illness in and of itself. It is not, but it comes with other mental illnesses quite often. And this is my belief, which means it is opinion. It is my belief that every person in AA should have a therapist. Yes, they should. They should have a primary care physician. It's actually mentioned in the big book. It says make use of these professionals. Sometimes we need to, what we call it is we are seeking outside help. That means outside of AA, right? Because in AA, we have doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and people that do mat treatment and people like me. But I am not that person while in an AA meeting. No, I am an alcoholic while I'm in that AA meeting. When I am sponsoring, I am a member of AA. I do not get to start pulling out my therapeutic clinical stuff that I may talk to you about as a friend. It's not for me to do. Michelle says, I thought I was a narcissist till I looked it up. No, I'm just self-centered. That's part of narcissism. But you're right. We are not true narcissists. We are not true narcissists. No. What we have is narcissistic tendencies, which come with our alcoholism. Amber says, my therapist discharged me. Good job. Good job. But if I need them, they're there. I do see a doctor regularly and a dentist. Just went to the boob doctor. Oh, the chiropractor. Huh. The whole point of therapy is to end it. I have not been discharged. I'm not ready to be discharged from it. I will probably need a therapist for the rest of my life. I went so far that I'm one of those people where I really need that extra support. I need somebody like that who understands what I'm doing in the field, who gets what I'm doing. It's very important to me. And it can't be an AA person because that's not their role. I have another friend I talk to every Wednesday. She is in recovery, but she's not in the program. She took a different route. But we have a lot of the same ethics. We have a lot of the same morals, like meeting people where they are at and figuring out what their needs are and then finding those needs for them, finding the right support for them. She's that kind of person. Yeah. Somebody I talk to every week. It just sort of happened too. We were introduced by somebody. We got along so well. You know, she's an old hippie like me too. If you haven't figured it out, I'm kind of a hippie. For those of you that don't get to see me on camera, I don't have my long hair anymore, but so I'm diagnosed with CPTSD, which means complex PTSD, acute anxiety. They always add on extra things for me, make me feel special, and severe depression. I was on meds for some of those things for quite some time, but I don't need them anymore. The whole point was getting on the meds to level me out so that I could learn how to work on my problems. So learn how to establish new tools that I could use. Okay? But it took several things for me to do that. It took a sponsor. It took my friends. It took my family. It took a therapist, a good doctor. I'm actually looking for another good doctor right now. I don't like the one that I have. Last time I saw her, she was 35 minutes late. And she was 20 minutes late to a Zoom appointment. And I understand that doctors are busy, but her excuse was, well, I just like to be thorough. And I asked 3 times for a referral to the cardiologist, and she never did it. So don't sit there and tell me you were being thorough. Yeah. I'm going to advocate. Now, am I going to tell her, oh, you're a crap doctor? No, I'm just going to find another doctor. You get to advocate for yourself. Find the right one, man. It's just like if your higher power ain't working, fire them. Get a new one. You're allowed to do that. So what is it about the other mental illnesses? It's honesty. I knew I had PTSD before anyone told me. I knew. But I wasn't willing to be honest about it yet. So when my therapist and my wife brought it up, I denied it. I was 2-3 years sober. I've been going to therapy a very, 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 very long time. Since 82. Probably before that. But that was a speech therapist. Right? That's speech therapist. Now, there are some meds, and see, this is not for me to decide, because earlier I said the point for me, and it was for me, the meds was to help me work through things, and I didn't need them anymore. But that was by direction of a doctor and a therapist. I did not make those decisions. I did bring it up. I'm like, do I really need to be on these anymore? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, time to get off of them. All right. I was on 120 milligrams of duloxetine, which is Cymbalta. Okay. It's a benzo. And it was horrible. It sucked. Hence the reason why I am not willing to go on any more meds. I will use a natural course first. I always choose a natural course first before I start pulling to Western medicine. I mean, heck, they told us opiates were safe. So come on, I don't really trust them. Many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. And there it is. I don't think I have any mental issues, and neither does my doctor, but I could be wrong. You're an alcoholic. Alcoholism is a mental illness. So, but the thing that it's different though, and I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to say that we can't forget that alcoholism is a mental illness. We are bodily and mentally different from people, but our medicine is slightly different, isn't it? It's about honesty and acceptance and willingness and these other things. The only diagnosis for alcoholism, only one person can do the diagnosis for alcoholism, and that's yourself. It is addiction and alcoholism are the only mental illnesses where self-diagnosis is the only diagnosis. Michelle says, isn't that enough? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Michelle. It is. And I hear you. I don't want to get diagnosed with ADHD also, because then that'll be 5 of them. I'll be 5 mental illnesses. Woohoo! And when it comes to my brain, I'll just start bragging. Look at all the mental illnesses I have. You don't have as many mental illnesses as I do. Many of them do have. We do recover. We do. You can become a free person. Now I still have my social anxiety. Am I free from that? No. But I at a point where Dion gets to me. I'm still a free person though. I can go there. It isn't the alcohol that is stopping me. It's when I get in moods like this where people are just irritating me, where my brain just focuses on the stupid shit things people are doing instead of being able to see the forest for the trees. It's part of the PTSD. See, my PTSD, my anxiety, my depression, my alcoholism, they're all kind of one and the same for me. Except I have different tools for different times for different things. Yeah. Like counting how many blue things are in the room. That works well for anxiety. I sing a lot, right? How many times do I break into song here? That is my social anxiety. That's my social anxiety, which also leads to my ADHD for my stimming. It is a tool that I use to make me feel better. Right? Michelle's talking about coming out of the closet. Yeah. But tonight, I'm cleaning out my closet. Try, I'll break out some Eminem. That's about all I'm going to do. He sings way too fucking fast, man. That guy's a wordsmith. I'm a fan of Eminem. Here's a funny story. When Eminem first came out, yes, I'm that old. Okay. When Eminem's younger than me, but he's also at what, 16 years of sobriety now. And good for him, man. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't run around and talk about it during interviews. Elton John is his sponsor. It's a known fact, but people don't really. Eminem doesn't put out, oh, I have this much time. Everybody else does it for him. And then they hashtag, Eminem and all these different. I love it when people use hashtags for recovery and they put celebrities' names in it. What are you really trying to go for here? I mean, really. What are we trying to go to? Oh, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the story about. So I went to go buy his album. Right. And I made sure I went to Sam Goody because if I would have went to Walmart, it would have been beep, 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 beep. Right. If Walmart even sold it. But I couldn't find it. And finally I had to break down and go ask. And they're like, it's right there under, it's right there under E's. Well, I was looking under M's. I didn't know how to spell his name yet, and the chocolate treat M&Ms is what came into my mind. The candy. Oh man, I got a shit ton of crap for that from the. So I took it in stride. It was pretty funny, right? What are some of the other things as far as mental illnesses go? I think and I'm going to have to kind of wrap this up. I have somebody at 2:00 I'm meeting with. It's a sponsee, but he's completed all the steps. And we're doing traditions. He's not even really my sponsee anymore. We just kind of, he's not. Hey, he doesn't need me to sponsor him anymore. Honestly, he doesn't. Mm-mm. But we still meet. I love the kid. We're going through the traditions now. Once we're done with the traditions, I might have to let him go. Not let him go, but be like, hey, I'll always be here, but I got to help that next person. Which is also, it's always a great thing to accomplish, man. Hey, there's not any more that I can really tell you about. We did it. We've been working together, gosh, 1.5 years now. And I actually met him. Amber and I used to run a big book study online at 10:00 in the morning on, I think it was Wednesdays. And one day it was just me and Amber and him, and it was just, and I just met him, but something in my gut said this kid needs my help. I said, well, I'm gonna be your sponsor. Yeah, I love picking sponsees, man. I just picked up well, I didn't just pick one up. Did we fight over him? Oh, we didn't. You're kidding. Okay. I would have believed you. I would have believed you, Amber. Yeah, yeah. That I can agree with. But he wasn't leaving without a sponsor. No, there was no way we're going to let that one. Wait, you get in this program, you do the work. I'm telling you, you get these intuitions and listen to them. That is God speaking to you. Michelle says, okay, that I don't understand. My sponsor has a sponsor that has a sponsor, and we agree it's for life. Now, will I be his sponsor for life? Oh, he might meet up with somebody else, go through the steps, who says you can't have more than one sponsor at a time. What we will be after we're done, the way I worry is we're closed mouth friends. Now we're friends. I have some people I've never talked to, but we finished. I never heard from him again. I had one guy, he was unwilling to sponsor after we were done. I'm like, well, good luck. Because what I'm going to teach you next is how to find sponsees. And clearly that's not what you're going to do. So it works different, Michelle. It works different, you know. There are some people that have sponsors for the rest of their lives. I've never had a sponsor more than a few years at a time. Yeah. No. He's saying, thank you. He's saying, thank you, Dad. I love you, Dad. Therapists, Amber says, a therapist is who we dump on, not our sponsor. Our sponsor is just someone takes us through the steps, and a sober friend. Yeah. What the way it's described in the big book is this: it's the fellowship. They become a part of your fellowship. So I think we're all saying the same thing. We're just saying it different with different words is all we're doing. So if somebody might have the same sponsor their whole life, you know, but if I've gotten a person to a place where they don't need to talk to me every single week, then I need to replace them with another sponsee. That's it. You don't graduate, but you do get to a point where I don't need to talk to my sponsor necessarily each week, but we definitely stay in contact. Right? That's what I would call a forever friend. Yeah. That's what I would call that. That's what I would call that. All right. It's going to be it for this one. Got a meeting today at 5:00. Amber says, I don't plan on getting another sponsor. Yeah, there's just, yeah. See, here's the thing. You do go through the steps over and over and over and over. The first time you do it with a sponsor, then you do it with sponsees. That's how we continue moving it forward. Right? Right now I have 4 sponsees. One too many for me, but I didn't want this kid to be left up in the air. So willing to take an hour of my time. And we all work different. We all do it differently. Yeah. I've worked the steps. I know how to work them. If I ever do have another 5th step, I'll do it with a clergyman or a stranger, LMAO, or your therapist. Right? So we continue to go through them. That's why we have the maintenance steps. The maintenance steps are there to maintain your recovery. See, steps 10, 11, and 12 include 1 through 10. Or I'm sorry, 1 through 9. So 1 through 9. All right. So, yeah. But this is where we find lifelong friends. You know, we don't, and it isn't even, and that's, yeah, that's it, Michelle. You know, if you go to the grassroots meeting, you know, or Amber's, what do you got? Sponsorship meeting. I forget what you call it. Sponsorship group, right? You have sponsees and sponsors and grand sponsors and great grand sponsors. You might even have an uncle sponsor or this or that. But really what it comes down to is I'm building my fellowship. This is the fellow, and that's when they say in the big book, we will show you how to create the fellowship you crave. And that's it. You do that by sponsoring. And that's how we get close, right? Even in the grassroots meeting, a lot of my sponsors go to that, or sponsees go to that meeting. A couple of Amber sponsees go to that meeting. But we're there together, right? So, like, if my sponsee can't get a hold of me, he's got a grand sponsor to get a hold of, and we take care of each other. Yeah, it'd be like a pyramid, sure, but it'd be overlapping pyramids, right? And if you're Hispanic or Mormon, you're really going to understand what I'm saying. Because, like, my half sister is also a distant cousin. Right. Has Amber and I ever gone through the steps together? No, but she's one of my closest closed mouth friends. It is not a sponsee sponsorship relationship. It is a brother sister relationship, and every single one of you are my brothers and my sisters because you are children of God, and so am I. That's how I kind of work it. But that's what's great about the program. It isn't the same for everybody. It depends on what your needs are. It depends on your needs. And that's between you and your higher power. Right? I hope I kept that simple enough. I'm sure I made it clear as mud. Mud. You know what, Bugs Bunny, you say, you know what mud spelled backwards is? Dumb. I don't know why I remember that. All right. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. All right. That's the Muppet Show. All right. Gonna meet with my brother in 5 minutes. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. No, I do. Peace out and have a day.